Hello, welcome back. Good evening. We are back to our good old 9 o'clock schedule. I hope you guys aren't too confused because kind of explained it at the end of my last stream that I would be switching the schedule back to 9 p.m. EST every night from now on because I'm no longer working. They laid me off for now. I didn't do anything bad. I was doing everything really good at work. I think it was too good to the point where they're like, yeah, there's no more parts, so there's no work for you. So I was like, okay, well, too bad. Not much I could do there, but it's fine. It's whatever. Looking for work other places. That's my personal problem. Well, we have Bitcoin dropping very, very much. Too much. We dropped to a point that I calculated this morning. Obviously, it was not calculated live last night. Last night, I left you guys with, I think, an entry potentially around 100,000, low 100,000 is where I think it was. But ultimately, I ended up changing my mind this morning as we were crashing. I'm like, no, you know what? This still has the strength to keep on dropping because we were not even oversold on the RSI. We were nowhere close to it. And we still aren't, by the way. We were not oversold on the RSI. And I was like, yeah. I don't know how much I trust this uptrend too much it is a longer term one, but I'd be more willing to trust the well-established uptrend that we have over here. And on top of that, I've kept on saying, right, 96, 97,000, that is the invalidation zone. If we do drop below that, this 4-year cycle, the bull run, it is over. You're allowed to short. I myself will also start shorting. I don't know what else to do at this point, right? But it just doesn't make sense, even now. So many fundamentals are just pointed in the right direction. The only bad thing that's really going on now, and there's always just one excuse that overshadows quite literally everything else, and that is the odds of us seeing a rate cut for December. I'm going to go ahead and pull out the chart. Doesn't look pretty. The previous couple of days we were looking at 2/3 of a chance we would get a rate cut versus 1/3. Now we're 50-50. So it's literally anyone's game at this point. And I feel like, okay, you know what? This is probably the right move to make because we just got off of the government shutdown. We were not getting any economic data whatsoever. So we were going into this blind, to be honest. Powell said he's not going to guarantee a rate cut. That was a hawkish tone that he used that nobody really liked, and it caused the initial crash below 100,000 the first time around over here. It would have been this drop, actually. No, it wouldn't. That's too early to say, but yeah. 29, 28, 30th of October. It was thanks to Jerome Powell that we crashed from 115 to about 106, and then we rose back to 110. From thereafter, I mean, it was all just, oh, we're scared about the shutdown. Well, guess what? Shutdown is now over. There were no tariffs put on China. The trade war is okay. So what gives, right? Here we are, though, just continuously dropping. I haven't even mentioned the price of Bitcoin yet because I don't want to say it. It's so absurd. We're at $99,000, 370. It's not something we'd like to see. But like I said, the rate cut odds, now that they are 50-50, I feel like it's a good reset point. Like somebody hit the reset button. Okay, we're going to delete the pricing in of a rate cut for December. That's probably the right move to make, in my opinion, because like I said, we were not getting any economic data, and now that the government shutdown is over, we should start getting economic data back to normal. Although our beloved Caroline Leavitt said, yeah, we're probably not going to get October data, or at least not all of it. So yeah, there's that. That's still up in the air, but what matters most is the economic data that should be coming out soon that will help us determine whether or not we will see a rate cut for December. That's the big narrative right now. I wonder if the dollar index has taken advantage. I'm sure it would have because, I mean, stocks have also been crashing. And it's weird. I was expecting today to be an up day. The government shutdown is over. Let us rise. Okay, well, it's not really rising that much, the US dollar index. Divergence. So what do we even do here, right? Well, that's what we're going to discuss. So the technical levels. I mentioned, yeah, 100,000 was going to be a very strong support. We broke through it quite easily. I mean, we've touched on it a couple of times now. The third time didn't really hold much. And what I did instead was I removed my trigger order from 100,000, I think 200, and I put it at 97,887 and 60 cents. Where did we drop to, ladies and gentlemen? 97,910. So I missed my entry by not even $20. Yep. Well, yeah, that is above $20, $23. So I don't even know what to do at this point. It's fine. I guess I'll keep it there, but knowing the charts the way I know them is that we're never going to see this level ever again, and it's just going to rise from here on out. And I would have missed on the perfect entry that would have drawn my average price from 107 to maybe 105, maybe 104. But there should be plenty of opportunities. And either way, I was kind of defiant on this level. I'm like, I dare you to hit this level charts. And I'm not even lying. Like, it's not like I put this level and, you know, just to make a big show out of it for you guys. No, that's not the case at all. I think I could check the trade history here, or transaction. No, hold on, trade. Order history, that's where it should be. Bitcoin. Are these from today? These are not from today. Oh, I mean USDT, USDC. SUI Bitcoin, okay. Yeah, here it is. I put this order on Bitcoin at 98,171.90. It's what I analyzed in the morning. I'm like, we could probably drop to this level, worst case scenario today. And if it wasn't even looking like we were going to go below 100,000 at that time, this was 12 o'clock noon. Okay, 12 o'clock on the dot. Coincidence. All right. November 13th. That is today's date, by the way. So where were we at 12 o'clock? Let's go to a 15-minute chart. And people were looking at this, by the way, like this gradual decrease. Everybody on crypto Twitter is like, what do you call this pattern? Honestly, it was really funny to see. But okay, 12 o'clock. You're about over here. 100,000, 600, 500. We were very close to the 200, which is where I had my order. I removed it. And I put it all the way down over here, which that is practically where we dropped to. Just missing it by a couple of, not even, well, $20, $23, which it sounds like a lot, but it's in Bitcoin, which is priced in the thousands, six figures type money, almost. So obviously it's a very insignificant amount that I missed my entry by. The way I calculated the entry, which is probably what you guys are asking, why that level? Why did I put that level there? First of all, I looked at a Fibonacci that I drew from our lowest point of August 5, 2024, so this is last year, put it towards our all-time high of 126,000. That gives us one of the few levels that I used to calculate this entry, which ultimately failed by pennies, okay? 96,750.4. That is where this first Fibonacci level is. I also used the super trend, which is looking at 96,145.5. This is in the weekly chart, the 10-3 super trend that helps determine whether or not we remain in this bull run, which for now, technically speaking, we are still in it, right? But I was also looking at this uptrend line and thinking, like, that's practically right where these levels are, so we shouldn't, hopefully, if, you know, price action does take its course, we shouldn't see a drop lower than this. We could maybe poke through it a little bit and we will just slightly readjust it, because that's always what I've done whenever we're looking at super trend levels, right? It's so hard to draw this in a weekly chart, but like if something like this happens, but ultimately we never break below the what do you call this line? Super trend line. All you would have to do is just simply readjust to wherever that low point is before we start rising again. So that's kind of what my theory is over here. Gonna remove these lines. So those are two of the four levels that I used to calculate the entry, because right now you're only looking at these two very low points. The next thing I did was go to the daily chart. No, it was not the daily chart, was it? No, I think it was. Yeah, I did. I used the support level from it because this uses it in basically a month worth of time frame, right? It accurately predicted these lows, 98,000. I think I used 5 levels actually. Let me do the math here. 98,893.3. Okay? That's 3 levels now. I'm going to have to remember these numbers so that I could average them out appropriately. Next, I went to the 4-hour chart and looked at 2 more levels. First one was the low point that we hit on November 4, which is 98,870.1. And then, last but not least, the support level in the 4-hour chart, which resets weekly, as opposed to if you're looking at pivots in a daily chart, those reset monthly, right? So that's kind of how I got all these levels intact, which that final one is 98,778.7. It gives you this number divided into 5, and that's how I got this number. There you go, perfect. 97,887.6. Averaging out all of those numbers gave me the exact precise low point that we just hit today, give or take $20 on Bitcoin scale, which it's unfortunate and I hate the fact that I missed it, but I'm just really good at missing it by like a couple pennies 100% of the time. So whatever. I'm happy that the prediction kind of worked, but I'm not happy that it actually didn't reward me, right? It didn't fill my order because my average entry would have been much lower at this point. That being said, okay, sure, we broke that super trend, the bullish one. That's out of the way. Forget about it. We are now, since we broke below that level and closed below 100,000, forget about what I was telling you about these candle wicks, how there's rejection at this price. This time around, nobody cared. It just dropped. And to be honest, I couldn't give you a really good reason other than this flashbang warning, the 50-50 odds of a rate cut for December. That's the only thing that I could really find. Seems like we're trying to poke above 100,000 once again, well, as we currently speak. Like I said, that's, given my luck, this is going to be the exact low point, and I would have not have my order filled there. You could tell me, yeah, but you could buy right now at 99,000. It's still a good price, and I would agree with you. But this is in the future. This is the futures market, and I mean, it's brutal out here. Markets will do the opposite of what you expect. And if I buy here, we're just going to go much lower. I'll guarantee you that, because that's just how it works. So I'm going to leave my order there, and I'm going to use it as like my little, I dare you to break through that level, that line. Because then it won't, and then we'll eventually start rising again, and that would have been the bottom. Sure, I wouldn't have gotten at a better price, but at least I guaranteed the fact that we're not going to drop more. This is all psychological. It obviously doesn't make any sense, so I'm just going to move on over here. Technically speaking, well, resistance, we're looking at 104,750 for now. Immediate resistance, of course, is the 100,000 psychological level. And, I mean, lowest point, if this is indeed the bottom, it would be the... You could round it up to 98,000. We did poke below to 97,910, like I said. That is our lowest, but yeah. Okay, you know what? I think we're good here. Let us move on. Ethereum down 5%. I was not expecting Ethereum to drop this much, but here we are. Just goes to show you can never trust it. Do I have money? I do not have money. Well, I'm done. Okay. Some stuff became oversold today, and they're my two favorite coins, by the way, Solana and Sui, which we'll be getting into. For now, for Ethereum, really not much has changed. Downtrend is still intact. Support level 3,114, and in my opinion, this would be a really good buy zone. Not financial advice, because we would be oversold by this point, and you should expect a bounce on something like this. It's got to happen, right? From there, I mean, it's up to... I mean, we never know where the next pivot levels are going to be specifically, so we're going to have to probably wait for that. Today is Thursday, tomorrow will be Friday. I don't know what Friday's going to bring at this point. It's really unpredictable now, so... And we can at least predict what will happen on Saturday, and that is nothing. We're just going to see a flat line. Sunday is what I'm more optimistic about. We'll have new pivot levels once again to help determine where we will be heading next. And I feel like I say that every week, but trust me, we're either bottoming out, we will make a bottom, or we have already bottomed out for some altcoins, right? Ethereum, it hasn't broken its lowest low, right? This is not the October 10 one. The October 10 one was, it was actually not even that bad. 3,393 was our lowest point on October 10. We dipped even lower on November 4 to 3,047. We haven't broken below that yet. So Ethereum, in that sense, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, the fact that there's no volume in there, but, you know, it's still holding, at least at this level. There's not enough sell pressure to continue pushing it further down, meaning that I do not expect Ethereum to be below $3,000, but I could be wrong, so take that with a grain of salt. Moving on to Solana, down 5%, and I have gladly entered into Solana at last. Dropped my average price. My average price is still a resistance, by the way. I purchased at 144, I think. 144.71. We dipped to a low of 140.92. I had that level just based off of, I think this low point averaged out with the support level. That's where I had my entry. We eventually dropped a little below that, which is fine. We are now slightly higher than where my entry was. Current price of Solana is 145. But like I said, I've been buying since 190 plus, so trying to do my best, buying these dips, buying whenever it's oversold. We did hit oversold over here. We had an RSI 28, which is perfect. So I'm happy with my purchase. RSI is now 33. Okay. Hyperliquid. I also bought more Hyperliquid today. Not more, but this would be my first entry in it. Really good entry. I like it. 37.06. We had a support at 37.03. We eventually dipped to a low of 36.60. So it was 40 cents off with my prediction, but it's fine. We have since then risen to 38.16 current price. We are still in a downtrend, which invalidates at 44 plus. It's flattened out up here, which is fine. And I'm happy that even if it was with a pathetic $5 profit, the entry that I had over here from before, I think it was around 39, I got out at that same break-even price with tiny profit, just so that I don't suffer a loss like this. You could have told me, well, yeah, you should have taken profits up here. If only I was a wizard, right? Things were looking okay for Hyperliquid, but, if you are in a downtrend, you should expect lower highs, lower lows. That being said, though, we have not broken below the support level, or the lowest point that we hit on November 4, which is 35.41. We haven't broken below that just yet. Not saying that we won't, but so far that is our bottom. Same scenario that we saw with Ethereum. I completely ignored Solana on this issue, by the way. No, but Solana did dip below that. So, slight difference there. BitTensor also breaking below its lows, making lower points here. I do have a trigger order at 319.72, just in case. I wouldn't pay too much attention to this uptrend line. I drew it just because it looked okay on the weekly chart, but if you zoom in, it looks really ugly because of the October 10-11 situation, right? But I mean, for the rest, if you ignore the volatility on October 10, it looks like a really good uptrend that we could probably see BitTensor bounce off of. And I use the support level kind of just to guide me through this area, right? Because even if, drawing Fibonacci's at this point, where would I even put that level at? You could tell me this level, but I mean, we also hit lows on this date. This volatility really screws up my analysis, the October 10 crash. So I'm just going to play it safe. I'm following pivot levels here. Support level shows me 319.72, so basically 320. I would expect to see a bounce on BitTensor. So far, we've dipped to a low of 329. The current price is 337. Downtrend is still very, very strong and lower. Once again, my average entry is a resistance. I'm probably going to be saying that for as long as it takes. Sui, it had a really good drop today. Almost to the same low as where we dropped on November 4. We're not even going to talk about October 10 because we crashed to, 50 cents? So ignore that. But, I mean, given this, technically by like a couple of millicents, whatever you want to call it, we didn't break below this low point. Although I think that would be subjective or depending on whatever your exchange shows you, because Every exchange is going to have different price levels, right? Varying slightly, but the majority will be the same. Current price is 185. We dipped to lowest point is 181. Today's lowest point, yeah, same 181. Practically there, literally millicents worth of difference. So, is it a good time to buy? I wouldn't say just yet. I want to wait till we are like really oversold, and I would expect that to maybe happen at 165 to the point where I actually put a trigger order at this level. Why specifically here? I'm literally guessing at this point, and I'm about to be liquidated at 156. So I have to have something here. I just have to, right? So I'm using that as my little protection. A level that I think, okay, a bounce could happen at 165. Sure. Seems like a decent level. I have nothing else to support why I believe that. I could maybe go to USDT chart to get more historical data. But I mean, these are lows that we have not seen ever since our rise in 2024, right? So it's going to be a little difficult to figure out. Like, this is one thing you could do, right? If you're seeing what I'm seeing here. It doesn't look too pretty either. 151. That's where I got liquidated, 156. So I got to have something before that. That's why I put my level at 165. What is this low point? I want to see this. 171. That actually seems more decent. This low point, ignoring the Fibonacci because I don't want to use it. I'm going to check the USDC chart because, you know, we have the same historical data from here. Yeah, I think it is obviously going to be the same level. 171 was our lowest point, and this happened on April 7th's crash. That could be an ideal entry. And I might even change my entry to there. Although that would mean I'm probably going to buy a little higher. You know what? I'm willing to have my order not get filled. If that means, you know, a bounce is supposed to happen, even if it does happen over here, and I obviously have the numbers that could help me predict that, yes, this would be an ideal bounce. I'm going to keep it low, just in case, because we are approaching a liquidation, so I want the best possible price, right? So I'll leave that there where we are. Sui is scaring me at this point, but I still have faith in the project nonetheless. Very, very oversold. For a very, very genuinely good project. So I'm keeping my funds there for now. Moving on. Chainlink, down 4.78%. 1455 is the current price. I do have a trigger order here as well, but we didn't drop that low today either. Didn't really become oversold. Would I expect that over here at 1376? Yeah, probably. A bounce, something like this. So that's the expectation. We'll have to wait and see. We're still on a downtrend. My entry's at resistance. It invalidates at 1693. Still got plenty of time. Government shutdown is over. Everybody should be using Chainlink once again. But no, clearly no one cares. Come on, economic data. It's out on Chainlink now, so what are we scared about? Aptos, I'm still going to stay out of it for now. Going to be manually looking into it though in case we do see a really good opportunity. For now, its uptrend is still technically there, so you know, same principle. You could just readjust it like this and be like, yep, we're still in a downtrend. I mean, an uptrend. I think though in the macro scale, we are obviously in a downtrend because we're at painfully low prices. It's inevitable that we are obviously in a downtrend. It just doesn't look pretty, whichever way you draw it, but believe me, in the weekly chart, confirmed downtrend. Let me go to USDT chart. Should give us more historical data. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Painfully low prices. That's a good deal in my opinion still. If you're buying spot, who cares about liquidation? I'm only nervous because of liquidation prices at this point. But yeah, even at these prices, of the spot trader, absolutely. Who knows? What would I have learned from this cycle? Leverage trading good, leverage trading bad? I feel like it's... I don't know. It's done so much good for me, like I've made incredible gains. But then I've also you know, huge liquidation events. I've been a part of them. There's been some cases where there's no escape. You're using 3x leverage, well, too bad. An asset dropped 30%. You lost. Which can happen. We've seen it happen. October 10 will... I don't know if... I don't think that's ever going to happen again in the future. I've explained that many times. But honestly, if that didn't happen, a lot of my positions would have still been alive, although maybe even at a loss. But they wouldn't have been confirmed liquidated, right? And I wouldn't have lost a significant portion of what I've gained. I'm still in the green overall ever since I started my inception of trading. I'm still positive, right? But yeah, it was a huge hit. Like, it erased a whole year worth of progress. That liquidation event on October 10. But I keep telling myself, like, hey, I know how to go through it, how to make it back, which I've been trying to do. And it's sort of been working. My recovery so far has been stable. It's nothing like life-changing or anything, but it's there. And, you know, the only issue is that we're entering a new year. We're basically leaving the cycle behind. I don't think it's done right now. Like I said, I know when it's going to be done. It's when it drops below 96,000, we're done. But for now, I mean, it's still intact. Bull cycle, bull run, 4-year cycle. Still going, in my opinion. We have a huge chance of a potential recovery. Like I said, fundamentals are super strong. And like I said, the only issue would be that we're probably going to be entering a bear market in 2026, inevitably, right? Something dumb is going to happen. A recession, another war breaks out, Fed stops cutting rates. Who knows? We'll see. We'll obviously be there alive still to cover all of that whenever we do get to it. So I don't know if this strategy that I'm doing is going to still be working while we are in a downtrend at that point in the weekly chart, because I've done this in back testing. It's worked really good during bull markets, right? Obviously, everybody seems like a genius in the bull market. You just buy, and I mean, it will eventually go up because you're at that period of time where things are all on the rise. So like I said, everybody looks like a genius on a bull run. And maybe I got lucky with that. I'll admit, like, the times that I've made the most were in July, when all the tariffs were stopped. I've made the most in November when Trump got elected, all throughout December, all throughout January. I've obviously lost a lot in February, March, April, when all those tariffs were announced. June, July, all good recovery. August was a good month as well. September was sloppy, but then, you know, October sucked a lot. And November, I'm trying to regain my footing over here. So that's where I'm at right now. Just in case you care or asked. That's all. Gonna go ahead and move on to our news. We don't have too much news to talk about today, but I'll still try to get through it. There's still stuff to talk about, don't get me wrong, but it's nothing too crazy, right? Nothing too volatile. I hate talking about Jeffrey Epstein, but here we go. The Democrat Party, they delete their accusation that President Trump spent Thanksgiving with Jeffrey Epstein in 2017, which has been proven fake. It's defamation. They should be sued for reckless disregard of the truth. The Democrats should at least be the ones to pitch into 47's presidential library. Sue. Like I said, I've also followed the Democrats' account just to be as unbiased as I can. I want to get both perspectives from both sides. I'm not an American, so I may be biased to one side, being from another country, but then I'm like, you know what? What are both of these guys saying? Who wants what's really best for the country? And the Democrats, it's all just pointing fingers at this point. And it seems like that's been the whole thing the whole time. I was there during the election campaigns between Trump and Kamala Harris. And it's all, you know, Kamala Harris is all just DEI, woke, trans stuff, and orange man bad, pointing fingers. Look what Trump said. Look what Trump does. Try to impeach him, try to shoot him, you know, that kind of thing. Ultimately, all of that did end up to Trump's victory in the election, is what I would agree with. And Trump genuinely did seem to have good policies on paper. Some of them you could say have not been fully completed, but, you know, he's kept his promises on a lot of things. Gary Gensler is gone. for the crypto community, at least, right? We have the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve. He's working hard to make Bitcoin the crypto capital of the world. He has also taken advantage of cryptocurrency rising and made a lot for himself, right? The projects he's launched, the rug pulls he's done to us, which we love him for. The meme coins, of course, is what I'm referring to that he's created. Those still exist. The partnerships, the invitations to all the CEOs of crypto companies to the White House, all these little acts, right, to try to appeal to the crypto community and say, hey, you guys are not forgotten and I'm here for you. But then on the other hand, he will backhand us with tariffs and, you know, Wall Street is investing in your market and they dislike that I'm doing this thing, so your markets will suffer as a result. So basically October 10, right? You don't gotta be a genius to understand that. Accusing of potential insider trading between him and his sons or something going on, right? Suspicious short before that tweet comes out from Trump saying that, yep, we're putting 100% tariffs on China, which is something that we've absolutely done before and we have not reacted as bad as we did on October 10. I'm going on a huge side note, but you get the point. This is once again another move by the Democrats pointing fingers to Trump. And now that the shutdown is over, I mean, the rhetoric during the shutdown that I've talked about was Republicans control everything, they're in charge, and it's their fault that there is a shutdown. And people believed it. And now it's, okay, shutdown is over, what's next? Okay, let's dig up something. Oh, Jeffrey Epstein. Okay, Trump with Jeffrey Epstein and bad. Again, it's being brought up again. So it's annoying, but here you go. There's your Democratic tactics. They're also trying to focus on affordability, trying to get the people's votes, which seems to have worked in some states, some cities. New York City, Zohran Mamdani got elected, that kind of deal. All right, moving on from that. The United States Securities Exchange Commission and CFTC operations. What does CFTC stand for? Commodities something? Commodity Futures Trading Commission. Okay, remember that. They will resume today their operations after the 43-day government shutdown, with staff returning following funding bill passage. They're about to pass a lot of stuff as well that should help the crypto community. I accidentally deleted this. Okay. This was also a big part of the news. Something that happened as well in the past that I decided not to cover because I felt like it was unrelated, or I'm just used to seeing stuff like this all the time to the point where people are wrong. But anyways, Michael Burry. If you don't know this guy, he is responsible for the Big Short, is what it's called, from the 2008 market crash. He basically predicted it. He saw what was going on with the houses and he was like, you know what, I'm going to short everything. And he profited off of everybody's collapse, the biggest collapse in history at that time. I'm pretty sure October 10 in crypto was worse than the October 8 crash. I mean, 2028 crash. 2008 crash. Oh boy, what am I talking about? But anyways, he also made a recent call, or a put rather, stating that Nvidia and Palantir are overextended, overbought, and I'm going to be shorting them. And with the recent crash that has been happening at the beginning of November, he actually profited off of it. So there you go. Good for him, I guess. But now he has announced that he will be shutting down his hedge fund, his company. Michael Burry's Scion Asset Management has terminated its registration status with the SEC. The change took place on November 10, according to a filing on the SEC website. Investment advisors with more than $100 million in regulatory asset under management must generally register with the US SEC. So he's basically quitting after, I mean, sure, you've made your millions, go for it. He has also deregistered his fund. He announced previous short positions in Palantir and Nvidia, which I just said. In a social media post, he did also hint that something will be coming out on November 25. And I keep on reading this stuff, but maybe there's more information that comes out. He pulled a disappearing act. The famed investor deregistered his hedge fund this week, meaning he's done managing outside money thanks to markets detaching from underlying fundamentals. I agree, because the fundamentals are strong, but they don't go up. Or maybe they are too high up and I'm just disillusioned with overconfidence. That might also be the case. He also warned that valuations are out of control with tech stocks soaring on AI hype. NASDAQ trading at a forward P/E nearing 30x. This means profit something. No, that's not price to earnings. That's what it means. Pulmonary something. What are you talking about? He's on to much better things, and he will liquidate the fund and return the capital to clients by end of year. Burry has also been comparing today's AI boom to the dot-com bubble in 2000, saying the only winning move is not to play. So he's also expecting a huge crash, but he's always been expecting crashes throughout history. A broken clock is right twice a day, so obviously sometimes he got it right, and 2008 was one of those cases. And the Nvidia Palantir one just recently. Of course, he says the only winning move is not to play, but while also shorting Nvidia and Palantir, which Palantir CEO Alex Karp called batshit crazy. Burry clapped back that Karp cannot crack a simple 13F for filing, I guess. So what's he going to do now? Well, he's teasing some kind of November 25th launch. Wonder what's going to happen. Feels like a wind up to his next big short. Oh boy. Once again, more about this. Slowly then all at once, Nancy Pelosi announces her retirement, is what we got. Warren Buffett also retiring and saying he'll no longer write the Berkshire annual letter. Michael Burry announces closure of his fund. The White House, they say that the last month's job report will likely never be released. Bitcoin falls below 100,000. Verizon cuts 15,000 jobs. And Kalshi traders forecast a 30% chance of a recession next year. Which is crazy. Aiden, hi. Welcome, sir. Do you know anything about what I'm talking about? Oh, you're just swinging by. Okay, cool. Well, enjoy. We're going through a big crash, and these might be the reasons why we're going through it. Hotter than expected US inflation data. I don't think we have any economic data that came out, though, so I don't know the validity of this, but I'm sure we can all speculate and, you know, with all the stuff, people are saying tariffs raise inflation. That's what the Fed has been fearing, right? The Federal Reserve, and that is why they were reluctant to cut rates until we had enough data to, you know, confirm, you know what, tariffs are not that inflationary, so we can cut. But then the shutdown happened, the jobs market was hurt, and they were like, okay, we have to emergency cut rates. Not really emergency cut, but we got the rate cuts that we wanted either way. They said it was risk management, even though we had no economic data. So you get the point. AI bubble burst speculation. Guys, this was the dot-com bubble. Why are we nervous? Anyways, I don't think it's fair to show it like this. This is a logarithmic chart, I think. At least according to the comments. People are still saying, yeah, but it still took like 15 years to recover from that dot-com bubble burst. We'll recover nonetheless. Massive leverage liquidations, that's also been going on. I haven't covered much liquidation points in a while, but yeah. SoftBank selling its entire Nvidia position. That was also a big thing that I decided not to talk about, but yeah, it happened. Two subprime hedge funds just blew up, like 2007. I'm assuming we're referring to Berkshire Hathaway and Michael Burry's, what was it called? Scion Fund. We've got peak fear, peak manipulation. What else we got? What is a fear and greed index at? We're at 25. This is not even extreme fear. I think we will be at extreme fear when we do indeed enter a bear market, which means a confirmation of breaking below 96,000 on Bitcoin, which, once again, I'm going to say we're painfully close to it, dangerously close. But this is where we see who has the balls to buy at these prices. I do. Do you? I was willing to buy this, but it just, by pennies, did not fill. Whatever. I blow in chunks. Probably closing below 50-week moving average for Bitcoin this weekend on your birthday. What is that looking like? The 50-week moving average? I could draw it out because I don't really use much moving averages. But I'm obviously going to know that that is bad. They're also talking about this death cross that's going to happen and things like that. So we're going to have to pay attention here. I just put MA, moving average. Simple one, 50 length. Yeah, we're about to close below that on the weekly chart. You are indeed correct. It sucks looking at this in the USDC chart. Okay, let me go to USDT. There we go. Yeah, it's basically also what I use. It's similar to the super trend. I like that. But it seems like just in these recent times, it's risen to 103, that moving average. So yeah, the fact that we might close below that. I don't know, 103,000? We're not that far off. We're not that far off. And what if, you know, Friday, Saturday, we could rise, maybe, just maybe, at least above 103,000. Hopefully. We'll have to wait and see. It'll be extreme fear tomorrow. It hasn't updated yet from today's crash. Oh, okay. Yeah, if it does take a data update, then indeed we should be. I mean, it literally just changed from 25 to 22. Yeah. Yep. Extreme fear. Oh boy. We'll have to wait and see though. But I still stand with as long as we stay above 96, 97,000. We'll be good. And here we go with the fundamentals, why it is strong. Bitcoin just hit 98,000 with more than 700 million liquidated in the last 24 hours. It's one of the largest wipeouts in weeks across Bitcoin and Ethereum. Majority of liquidations came from aggressive long positioning. Why are we longing like crazy? People do think maybe they think this is indeed the bottom and they would have put high leveraged longs over here, which that should not be the right move to make. Look at all this previous analysis I was doing. So invalid. Oh, would you have a look at this? Another thing that supports the 97,000 dip that we had today was a Fibonacci extension. I didn't realize this. This is from same deal, right? August 5, the first all-time high we hit in January, low point in April 7, and then that gives us my 135,000 target, right? That's why I haven't deleted this. But look at that. It also points to the 97,795 for support. That's crazy. Dogwood Footy, welcome. Long-term, Bitcoin deserves a breather. We'll have to see. Imagine how many people bought the top, forced to hold for months, while new hands enter. New all-time high will exceed expectations. I sure do hope so. Yeah. This type of move usually marks a reset rather than a top. I agree with this. I don't think we've topped. This cannot be a top, guys. Come on. Or maybe it can. I don't know. If you're looking at like what happened in... Oh, I literally have the McDonald's pattern drawn here too. That's crazy. So, in 2021, we hit our highs in March and then once again in September, October, November. And then we had a bear market, right? That kind of stuff is... maybe happening today. We had an early rise, right? We broke our all-time high a bit too early in 2024, right? So that's clearly why people think, yeah, this cycle is indeed different. We had our first high and then our second impulse higher, right? A little high and then a little bit more higher. Little high, a little bit more higher. People are saying that this is indeed the top and we're going lower from here. Yeah, I'm waiting for confirmation of that being broken. And then I'll agree with you. Use case where Bitcoin stands. Borrow, lend against, use it as a tool. I do agree here. The bull ends here. It would be the most boring bull market of all time. Yep, that's what a lot of people are also saying. Isn't there also this thing where it's like people have a lot of these all-time high... No, what would you call it? Cycle top indicators. That's what it is. And, you know... none of them have been hit. I think that was the big one. So yeah, fair enough. We climbed for almost 2 years. Yeah. Since 2023, Burly, like that's where this initially started, right? We had a good run, but I feel like one more impulse higher still deserved. Especially now. Fundamentals are way too strong, honestly. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe December. I hate to like delay when I expect things to top out. I was expecting things to top out this month. But no. It might even just be carried on until December. Or maybe that's just me being... just coping. I don't know. So... I'll have to wait and see. It was a good run nonetheless. Like, even if that was the end of the bull run, I'd be fine with it. But obviously, I'd still be like, there's much left to desire in that case. I would have expected maybe a 135,000 that I had drawn over here, the 150,000 that everybody else was expecting, you know. And like I said, the money is there. We're seeing the money flowing in and out of gold. We've seen it flown in and out. What did I say? Yeah, flowed. Flown means fly. Okay, I'm mixing my words up. Anyways, the money exists. It's moving in and out of gold, right? We have a lot of money around the world. Stablecoins all-time high right now. People are just fearful to buy. They want confirmation that things will be all right and we are able to have that last impulse. I'm already early convinced of this, so that's why I'm still in it. But, I mean, I don't know. Maybe sentiments do change and things will head lower from here. You welcome the bear market to build out a crazy generational back and never use credit ever again. I mean, yeah. I do agree stablecoins are the new meta, yeah. Okay, alright. Hold and earned yield. Yep. I think I would do like stablecoins like that if I had a lot of wealth and I'd want to preserve it. That would make more sense for me because it's, you know, safe. It's a stable coin. Sure, you can have your money there and have passive income getting earned. But in the meantime, I need to make that wealth, right? So I want to grow the capital as safely and as fast as I can. Seems like Bitcoin is obviously the best option for that. Only Bitcoin, though, is what I would recommend. Not recommend. I don't give financial advice. Okay. Bitcoin holding near 90,000 after that. Level of liquidation shows underlying demand is still strong. If buyers step in with cleaner leverage, the next breakout could come fast. Yeah, guys. Don't use 5x leverage like I am. Anyways. Cool. Moving on. Next post, please. Luxembourg finance minister says their sovereign wealth fund has invested 1% of its assets invested in Bitcoin and other countries will follow soon. Only 1% Luxembourg? Come on, you got more money than that. I also wanted to talk about Taiwan. They're advocating for a Bitcoin strategic reserve, proposing up to 5% of the nation's reserves, which will be $50 billion, that will be allocated to Bitcoin. I need to know the number of Bitcoins that is. Is that 50 billion? I hope so. Divided by circulating supply of Bitcoin. Am I doing the math right? I don't want to embarrass myself live here. 19,940,000. 2,507 Bitcoins. That's not that much, is it? It's something. Fine. Really? That's 5% of the nation's reserves? Okay, they're reserves. I was thinking they're GDP. For Taiwan, come on. Anyways, yeah, they're starting their own Bitcoin National Reserve. Central Bank and Executive Yuan have launched a formal study on adding Bitcoin to its national reserves. The legislator, I'm not pronouncing that, says Bitcoin could diversify reserves and reduce reliance on the US dollar, complementing, not replacing, traditional holdings. That's good, because we don't want people to hold the US dollar. We want people to hold Bitcoin. If everybody flocks to holding the US dollar because they think it's, you know, it is the universal payment and the strongest economy, then, you know, everything else will fall in price. Because that's just how supply versus demand works. If people would rather hold Bitcoin instead of the US dollar, it will weaken and Bitcoin will strengthen. That's just fundamentals, obvious. Bitcoin offers a unique hedge due to its decentralized and fixed supply nature. Yeah, we know that. The race to accumulate Bitcoin is heating up, with countries including the US, El Salvador, Argentina, and now Taiwan, all in for Bitcoin national reserves. You know who else? The Czech Republic. The Czech central bank buys $1 million in Bitcoin. It's not necessarily the government, but it's their bank, their national bank. Only $1 million? Come on. $1 million pilot crypto portfolio, including Bitcoin, crypto, and tokenized deposit. The national bank governor, not pronouncing that, says the country could invest billions, up to 5% of all its reserves, into Bitcoin. Once again, 5% of the country's reserves. I wonder how much that is. This is about modernizing reserves and hedging against risks in traditional assets. The people are waking up. Like I said, fundamentals way too strong. China, by the way, I don't know the source to be honest, but they reportedly injected 351 billion yuans, which is 50 billion US dollars, in liquidity into the market, which signals continued support for financial conditions. We're about to see some Chinese stocks rise. Remember last time that happened? It rose like crazy. Can I remember when that happened? It happened many months ago when they applied stimulus to their country. Hang Seng Index. This is Hong Kong, isn't it? I need to look for China. A50, I think. China ETF indexed futures. Would it have been? No, it would have been in the weekly chart. Let me go here. I hate these charts so much. I don't remember when it happened. It was last year, though. I think it was this. It was literally this. September of last year. Makes sense. MSCI. Is this for China, though? I don't know if this is for China. Or maybe I'm clicking on the wrong one. I don't think it's this one. Did I just type it again? What am I doing? I guess I have to look for China. MSCI China. Here we go. I'm assuming it would have been September 2024. When did China inject liquidity to these markets? That's not real. MSCI China Index. Yeah, okay, so I did get that one right. It was not in 2020. It happened like sometime either last year or this year. Early this year, late last year. China Central Bank injected 1 trillion yuan, which is 139 billion, into the market on Friday. In June 7, 2025. June? I don't think it was this. No, it was definitely something else. Oh, dude, I have a Discord already, by the way. Dogway Footy. Go to the link in the description. It's there. So you can join it. We can talk there for sure, yeah. Okay, so yeah. I'm pretty sure, though, it was a rise like this, I remember. And it would have been in September, I'm pretty sure. I think it was this rise, if I'm not mistaken. So this doesn't seem to be as much. I don't know. I'm literally referencing $1 trillion over here. 1 trillion yuan, which is 139 billion, sorry. And this says 50 billion, so it's going to be about half, not even half, as much. It doesn't seem to be too much of liquidity injection, but it's something. So we should see a green day for Chinese stocks tomorrow. Blowing chunks down 40k, just holding spot, alts, and stocks. Pretty damn bad. And same with an increasing SPY price. I know, right? That's the thing. Like, everything else is on the rise, but crypto is just not. It's like, why? And the fundamentals are stronger than ever. It's just clear that it's either manipulation or lack of confidence. Sentiment is down. I don't know, but we deserve to rise, honestly. It doesn't make any sense. More good stuff. XRP. They had their ETF out today. Cannery Capital. By the way, Pudgy Penguin profile picture. That's still a thing. How is Pudgy Penguins? I know we're supposed to be talking about what's its name? XRP, but we're here talking about Pengu. It's crashed to 13. That is not good. Man, these are really, really low points. I don't know. At this point, I'm not gonna risk myself with meme coins. Sure, they'll probably have the best reward to the risk ratio. No, not really. They would have the worst. Really, really bad risk reward. You have more risk than you can with reward. No, okay, you get the point, right? If you get it right, yeah, you'll make a killing off your return in a meme coin. But anyway, it's not healthy to do that. Here's just a history of XRP, I guess. Launched in 2012. It was designed for fast, low-cost global payments and operates on the XRP ledger, decentralized blockchain. Yeah, right. Built for efficiency. With its focus on cross-border transactions, XRP is often seen as the bridge asset connecting TradFi and digital liquidity. Sure. Only the banks think that. Investing involves significant risk. La la la, that's not of my importance. Read carefully before investing. Okay, cool. Anyways, XRPC is the ticker. We do have an XRP spot ETF at last. And once again, ignoring, oh, I forgot to see. Ignoring the Rex Osprey. Look at that. I'd love to invest in this right now. Like, take all my money, right? Now we're kind of bouncing down. I'll give it a break. I'm just giving it a hard time because it just came out. But there's more. There's more XRP ETFs that will be coming out. November 13, that's today. That's the Canary ETF that came out. November 14 to 18. I don't know why we're giving date ranges here, but Franklin Templeton seems to be next. Bitwise coming out November 19 to 20. Then we have 21 shares and coin shares. That's coming out November 20 to 22. And in late November, we're getting Grayscale's XRP ETF and Wisdom Tree. Wall Street's 1.5 trillion is coming for XRP. Not all of that money is going into XRP, by the way. Probably a very insignificant portion. I've done the math. 1 billion moves 1 penny in XRP. 1 billion in its market cap. So don't expect too much. I know I'm pessimistic on XRP. Are we rising? No, obviously not. You looked at the XRP's price action. We're crashing today, despite the ETF coming out. This was the ETF before it came out. Sorry, this is the price of XRP before the ETF came out with the optimism, right? Sell the news event. Clear as day. We also have the 21 shares rolling out new crypto indexed ETFs. So they will release a crypto 10 index ETF, which would be T top. I guess the T is for 21 shares, and then the top 10 cryptocurrencies, which will include obviously Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Dogecoin, and all that. And then there's also a crypto 10 index ETF excluding Bitcoin, which will be T for 21 shares, excluding BX, Bitcoin index. I don't know. So yeah, it excludes Bitcoin, focuses on networks built for applications, payments, and smart contracts. So we're getting to other basket ETFs is what we like to call those. SBI Group, I don't know what that is, but they will be investing $200 million into Evernorth, which is the largest public XRP treasury company, which I've also never heard of. Why have I never heard of these? Seems like they're Japanese companies by the flag. So yeah, 200 million still is not going to be too much, and it'll probably benefit the stock more than it will benefit XRP in the end. So we'll see. Grayscale will be launching themselves on the stock market. An IPO will be coming out soon. $35 billion assets under management. We hate Grayscale because they sell everything except for Solana. They had nothing to sell with Solana, so that's why the Solana Grayscale ETF has been good. The symbol, the ticker will be coming out as gray. I don't think we know exactly when it's coming out, but I read somewhere something 4 months. Take that with a grain of salt. The source was literally, trust me, bro. Some FUD. Let's spread FUD. Let's go. Let's do it. This guy's been posting bad stuff about almost everything you could think of. Aptos raised $350 million 3 years ago. No one uses it except Aptos GCR and a few of his cousins. It was just a wash trading hub. Can't name a single app that people actually use. Zero. Go to zero, Aptos. I mean, fair enough. I only liked Aptos because of, you know, its transactions per second were better than Sui. It seems like it has more potential, right? But it's just not popular enough. That's the issue. You can't name a single app that people actually use on Aptos. Maybe you can, but I can't. Avalanche, I will agree with this one. They raised $535 million in 5 years, and no one knows why. No one uses it. I disagree with that. We have a South Korean stablecoin on Avalanche. If anybody uses South Korean stablecoins, people in South Korea, obviously, but no one uses it except for Vovo's cousins and bots. Even she and Imin don't use it. I don't know who these people are. Can't name a single app that people actually use. Weren't they trying to get into gaming? Avalanche holders are no different from Cardano holders who've never touched the Cardano network and believe the earth is flat. Okay, go to zero. avalanche. This is all FUD on purpose, by the way. It's not my actual opinion on it, but here's another one. Polkadot raised $510 million. No one knows why. No one uses it. Literally no one, because there's nothing to use. Last time I used Polkadot was just for staking because they had a good yield, but I lost money in its capital investment compared to the yield return that I got, so it was worthless. Akala USD went to 0. I don't know what that is. Last time I checked, the team was paying $53,000 to CoinGecko and also to CoinMarketCap, by the way, for an animated logo and distributing dots to the Kaito Yapsuckers. What does this even mean? Okay, but that is true though. The paying $53 million, that was pretty funny. We're talking about this animation that you see on Polkadot over here, where it turns into flames. Why? What's the marketing scheme for that? Just so people could see like, oh wow, this token must be special because it's animated. There's a GIF. Anyway, the last remaining holders locked their DOT in the crowd loan 4 years ago at 50 billion fully diluted value. And when the unlock finally happened years later, the DOT was at 5 billion fully diluted value. Yeah, fair enough. It's lost a lot of its value. So they basically became holders forever. That sucks. Somehow still sitting at 5 billion FDV. Go to 0. Cool. Well, there you go. There's the FUD. All right, moving on to other news. FBI has launched a new Twitter account called FBI Rapid Response, created specifically to address and respond to users' posts in real time. You ever see those Twitter posts where people will be like, oh, this person just made a threat, at FBI. Well, now there's an account you can actually at where you don't have to spam them. Should I follow them? At FBI _ response. Oh, there we go. Is this real though? 10,000 followers. Yeah, it's real. Yeah, okay, cool. Well, it exists if you care. Vine apparently is making a comeback. You guys remember Vine? They have a meme coin, right? Is it listed here, please? Yes. It's down 16% on the news. Let's go. What is this? It doesn't even make sense. Anyways, they're making a comeback as a new app that will be called Divine. Divine, get it? And they are banning AI on it. Is it still going to be the famous, funny 6-second videos? I don't know. TikTok is too famous. It's not going to get dethroned. So forget about Vine ever making a comeback, in my opinion. This should be positive. Why are we crashing? Weird. I know it's not the official, like, Vine, like, stock or anything. It doesn't exist. They closed out ages ago. But there was a meme coin that was released, and it was rising whenever, you know, Elon Musk was tweeting about Vine and things like that. It's basically a meme coin here. It has no intrinsic value, so make of that what you want. Trash coin. Valve has unveiled the Steam Machine, if you guys are interested in that at all. And it's a new device that connects to any TV or monitor, which allows you to play your entire Steam library on the big screen. So any games you have downloaded on your computer, you can just take this thing. It's basically a computer that you can connect to your TV, but specifically for games. Which means that PlayStation, Xbox will suffer here with the competition. Apparently it runs really good graphics and stuff like that. I don't plan on getting it though, so I don't care too much for it. But just in case you guys do, I put it out there for you. And my last thing is Hyperscan. I wanted to look at, you guys remember whatever happened to Alpha Arena? Whatever happened to that? Where it's, you know, the competition between all these AIs trading. I have them saved. I think one of them was GPT-5 to see how ChatGPT has been doing. Well, they have no more positions available. What are they at then? I guess this is their final score, right? I'm assuming the Alpha Arena is done. The competition between all these AIs who can invest the best, right? Yeah, it seems like it finished October 31st. Wow, I was late to figuring this out, but here you go. So it seems like they did it for about 15 days. That was the one thing I didn't know, is when it ended. So here's the final results, I guess, just to put a bow on top of all this and call it a day, right? DeepSeek wins. Chinese AI, by the way, with $14,000. They all started off with $10,000, okay? And you're allowed to trade on hyperliquid with perpetual futures to try to make the biggest return. That was the only command given to these AIs, right? You have $10,000, invest in the top something cryptocurrencies, and try to make as much money as you can. So, DeepSeek wins. I hate the name of this one. I can't remember it. Q something. It's the Alibaba AI. They made 13,000, so they came in second place. They also compared Bitcoin's price throughout that time. You were better off holding Bitcoin than using Claude, Grok, Gemini, or ChatGPT to invest for you, which is crazy, right? Even in that sense, they were not able to outperform the markets. So, that being said, Claude came in third place. It started off a bit shaky, I remember, and then it actually gained its momentum after making some banger trades. But now it ultimately ended up losing, actually. 8,900 is where they ended off with their total money from 10,000. Grok, surprisingly bad. It started off really good. I remember this. It was like competing for first place between DeepSeek and Grok. But it ended up dropping and ended with a $6,200 balance from the 10,000. Gemini and ChatGPT started off terribly from the beginning, and any little gains that they made was not sufficient to push them up higher at all. Gemini ends with 3,100 as their final balance, and ChatGPT, the worst financial advisor for AI, 2,586 final balance from 10,000. That means you would have been down 75%. That's crazy. DeepSeek seems to be the best one for financial advice then. Not financial advice, by the way, but there you go. And for proof, we can do DeepSeek, which I have saved. I saved their addresses because I'm so intelligent. Yeah, there's no orders open anymore, so... Oh. No, I don't think it changed. Hold on. Why wouldn't it work? Sometimes it like won't switch over because I think that's the same one as the ChatGPT one. Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. I don't know what they did. Or maybe I just have the wrong address. I don't know. But trust me, okay. DeepSeek wins. There you go. Final stand on all of that. Okay, cool. Where did we end up? Same as where we started. 99,275 on Bitcoin. So what's next? I don't think we're gonna drop any lower. Every time I say that, it drops lower. So I don't even know what to say at this point. We're gonna drop lower. Maybe we'll go higher because I said that. But honestly, like really, there's just so many good fundamentals. Nobody wants to see Bitcoin at 99,000. We have so much stuff going on that it deserves to go higher. I initially had an Excel spreadsheet where one day I just sat down. I'm like, okay, I'm going to write down the bullish stuff. And then on another column, I'm going to write down the bearish stuff and see which one outweighs which. It's something I did like over a month ago. So it's collecting dust at this point. I was supposed to update it every day or something. But I've clearly procrastinated since updating all that. But I think I'll revisit it. I'll be writing down everything else that I can think of as to why we should be going up, and then other stuff that why we should be going down. I'll weigh the two, and then maybe tomorrow I'll give you guys my final consensus on all of it. Wasn't a fan of the experiment of Alpha Arena. I mean, it was cool just to see what the AIs would do, but yeah, ultimately it's out of our control. Not much. It's all just speculation, all for entertainment, right? It was mainly the betting markets that people were more enthusiastic about when it came to the Alpha Arena, the AI competition. Okay, zoom out. One final push to 110K, maybe, and then we go lower. 83,000 is a definitive make or break price point, in your opinion. We're trading against Wall Street. Yeah. Yeah, I see your point. It could happen. I'm not ruling it out, right? But my analysis, my opinion, my view of markets is this is likely our lowest. It's gotta be. Because what, we're going to have all this bullish news all the time, and then we're just going to keep on dropping. It just honestly doesn't make too much sense to me. So I'm going to believe and be optimistic for now. And then if we go below 96,000, I'll reward you with something. Just leave it at that. So yeah, all right. We'll see. We'll see. We have to wait and see. Okay. But yeah, that was all the stuff I had to cover for today. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Where are we at for subscribers? Let me see. Channel. Go to my channel. 493. Come on, get those numbers up. But no, still, thanks for watching. And yeah, if you want to discuss more, for sure, join the Discord. It's in the description. And yeah. All right, we shall see where things go from here. Are we getting economic data at all, by the way? What do you mean words of wisdom? Oh, you just want me to say something here? Okay, what do I say? Putting me on the spot here. No crying in the casino. There you go. That's your words of wisdom. Quoting my guy Trump over here. If we crash, it's fine. We close out the positions. We start shorting wherever opportunities are available. We'll be flipping in a downtrend until, of course, further confirmation that things flip off to the upside. It's all, we're gonna have to wait and see. I'm glad you enjoyed that. Okay, cool. So, yeah, it literally is my ex-header. So beloved. It's so funny. Where are we? There we go. No crying in the casino. Alright guys, I'm going to end it off here on a positive note, so there you go. Thanks so much for watching. Catch you tomorrow. Same time, 9 p.m. now, going forward. I also have to edit this, by the way, live at 11 p.m. EST. What a lie. What a liar. I'm going to change that. Okay, bye guys. Have a good night.